Am I the jerk for kicking my wife and her daughter out of my house? I'm a 32-year-old guy, and my wife, who's 34, and I have been together for about 3 years, with one of those years being married. We've had a pretty solid thing going, no major issues or anything. The only hiccup in the whole setup is her daughter, Maggie, who's 16. Maggie is my wife's kid from her previous marriage. Maggie's dad, my wife's ex, tragically passed away in a car crash about 5 years back, which was around the time my wife and I started seeing each other. We took our relationship super slow, especially because of Maggie. My wife waited a good while before she introduced me to her, wanting to make sure we were serious before bringing me into Maggie's life. When I first met Maggie, she wasn't exactly warm and fuzzy towards me, pretty distant and kind of mean, actually. But I got where she was coming from, dealing with the loss of her dad and all. I made a point to try and bond with her, spend some quality time together, but I never pushed her into anything. I was clear from the get-go that she could just call me by my first name, and that I wasn't there to try and take her dad's place. I was just hoping we could find a way to get along. Things did start to improve a bit, but there were still times when Maggie would snap at me or make some off-color remarks. So here's where things really started to go south. After my wife and I got hitched, I was all for having her and Maggie move into my place. They were on board with the idea, or at least my wife was. Maggie, who was 15 at the time, didn't seem too thrilled, but she didn't have much say in the matter, according to my wife. And that's when the real trouble kicked off. Maggie began acting out big time. We're talking full-on kitchen chaos, smashing glasses and plates on purpose, and leaving all the dangerous shards just lying around. She didn't stop there, though. She was tossing stuff out of the window, hurling insults at our neighbors, you name it. This kind of thing was happening almost twice a week. Now, I'll be the first to admit I've got a bit of a short fuse, so yeah, there were times when I lost my cool and raised my voice at her, insisting she clean up the mess she made. But let me be clear, I never ever got physical with her. No hitting, no physical punishments, nothing like that. My wife kept trying to get Maggie to cut it out, but it was like talking to a brick wall. This whole cycle of chaos just kept on going for about a year. Then, just last week, things hit a whole new level of crazy. My wife and I were coming back from grabbing dinner, and we find the garage door wide open. Inside, there becomes Maggie, and she's going to town on my car, just wrecking it. So I've got this BMW X5, which, let's be real, didn't come cheap. Maggie, my stepdaughter, went full-on destruction mode on it. We're talking about her taking a knife to 2 of the tires and keying the heck out of the paint job. At that moment, I totally lost it. I called her some pretty harsh names and told her to get out of my house. My wife, trying to play peacemaker, basically said Maggie was just having a tough time and that I was out of line for snapping at her like that. That did not cool me down. In fact, it cranked up the heat. I told my wife if she's cool with her daughter wrecking my belongings, then she might as well leave too. We got into this mega argument, and during the heat of it, I demanded Maggie cough up the cash to fix my car. I even threatened to take her to court over it because, guess what? I've got the whole car trashing episode on camera caught by my garage security cam. My wife calls me heartless for even suggesting it, so in a fit of anger, I told them both to pack up and leave. And they did, right then and there, close to midnight. Looking back, I can't help but think maybe I could have handled the whole situation with a bit more chill, but at the same time, it felt like this was a long time coming. Now we're heading towards a divorce, and I'm seriously considering legal action against Maggie for the damage to my car. I'm just at my wit's end with the constant destruction and the toxic vibe at home. I even chatted with my folks about it, and while my dad's kind of on my side, my mom thinks I might have been the bad guy in this scenario. So here I am, tossing it out to you guys. Given all the chaos, am I the jerk for kicking them out and thinking about suing? And now for the update. So you guys have been hitting me up, wanting to know the latest scoop, and how I've been holding up since all that drama went down. It's been a hot minute, a couple of weeks actually, since the whole fiasco unfolded. Here's the deal. I ended up having a real heart-to-heart with my wife to hash out everything that's been going on. She was kind of on the fence, hoping we could patch things up and give our marriage another shot. But after mulling it over, doing some serious soul-searching, I laid it out for her. I'm set on getting a divorce. It wasn't an easy convo, not by a long shot. I've got a ton of love for her still, but the thought of jumping back into that whirlwind of chaos? Nah, can't do it. This last year, man, it's been like riding the world's craziest roller coaster ups, downs, and way too many loop-to-loops. It hit me that I really need to look out for numero uno, focus on my mental health, and just breathe, you know? Maggie took it hard too, but she got where I was coming from. We both kind of realized that splitting up isn't just the best move for me, but also for Maggie. I really pushed the idea of Maggie getting some therapy, and guess what? She started sessions last week, which is a huge relief. Fast forward a bit, and we're at the lawyer's office signing those divorce papers. The whole process was surprisingly chill, probably because we had a prenup in place, didn't mix our money, and the marriage was a short run, just a year. There are still a couple of things left to sort out, but it's pretty much a done deal. Oh, and about my car. Met up with my lawyer to talk damages. And yikes, the cost to fix everything, those slashed tires, the nightmare of scratches, and the cracked windows, is going to be a pretty penny. It's like the hits just keep on coming. First off, fixing my car? Yeah, that's going to run me a whopping $6,000. Just to put that into perspective, where I'm from, folks generally make around $1,000 a month, so we're talking about 6 months' worth of salary just to fix my ride. You can imagine how that felt like a punch to the gut, so I hit up my insurance company thinking maybe they could take a bit of the sting out of this, but nope. Turns out my policy is about as useful as a chocolate teapot when it comes to vandalism. That left me in a bit of a bind. My lawyer, though, he's been on the ball. He suggested that pressing charges against Maggie wasn't just a good idea, it was pretty much essential. I was kind of hesitant at first, not going to lie. The idea of dragging this into the legal system felt heavy, but he was all, trust me, this is how we cover our bases. Fast forward a bit, and I'm sitting down with my wife, both of us with our legal teams in tow, trying to hash this out. I laid it out for her. My insurance is basically throwing up its hands here, and someone's got to cover the repairs. My wife's in a tight spot too, saying she's strapped for cash, especially since she's bunking with her folks and on the lookout for her own place. I proposed a kind of truce. I'd cough up the cash for now, and she'd pay me back down the line when she's got her finances sorted. She wasn't exactly jumping for joy, especially with the whole police report thing hanging over us. Reporting Maggie meant she'd likely end up with a criminal record, which is a heavy burden for her future. But let's be real, VJ actions have consequences, and we found ourselves at this point because of choices that were made. Maggie's got some legal hurdles ahead, probably ending up in front of a judge and getting some mandatory therapy sessions and community service. It's been a whirlwind, to say the least. Through all this chaos, my friends have been absolute legends, keeping me sane and supported. And to all of you out there who've sent your thoughts, advice, and kind words my way, massive thanks. It's been a rough ride, but having this kind of support has made all the difference. You guys rock, seriously. Now for the next story. I wanted to leave my girlfriend, not her daughter. So here's where I'm at. I've hit a point where I'm thinking about breaking up with my girlfriend. And just to be super clear right off the bat, her daughter isn't the reason why. Sorry if my thoughts are all scrambled. It's one of those nights where I've had a bit too much to drink, and my brain is kind of doing its own thing. I'm a 39-year-old dude, and I've been with my girlfriend, who is 31, for a solid 6 years. The journey was pretty sweet for the first 4 years. Everything seemed to be clicking in the right way. But then the last 2 years, man, it's like we hit a slide that only went down. To top off this not-so-great ride, I found out she's been sneaking around with some guy she works with. Yep, I did a bit of snooping because my gut was telling me something was up, and there it was. Now about me, I'm pretty lucky to have landed a job that pays really well, so money hasn't really been a worry. I've been footing all the bills, taking care of her daughter Olivia's schooling, her hobbies, you name it. And honestly, I was cool with it, no sweat, until the whole cheating saga unfolded, and I found out she was also laughing about me behind my back. That's where I draw the line. I'm out. But here's where my head's at a twist. Olivia, her kid, is this super bright 14-year-old. We've got this bond that's pretty rare, like talking about all sorts of things under the sun. Supporting her in every way has been part of my day-to-day because seriously, she's that kind of special. But even with the relationship tanking, I can't shake off wanting to keep helping Olivia out, especially with cash for her education and stuff she loves doing. The kicker is her mom would hit the roof if she knew I planned to keep supporting Olivia, but cut off the funds for their Lux life. Her mom's pretty much gotten comfy with this lavish lifestyle thanks to me, and that's going to change when I exit stage left. my brain's buzzing with worry that she'll try to play Olivia like a chess piece, using her to keep the luxury train running on my dime. That's a game I don't want Olivia caught up in. I'm all in for making sure Olivia gets to be the amazing person she's on track to become, without the drama. I've got this huge soft spot for Olivia. She never ceases to amaze me with the stuff she does. My commitment to backing her up isn't going anywhere. But yeah, the headache comes in thinking that if I keep this up, her mom might try to wring me dry for more cash for herself. Maybe even putting Olivia in the middle to guilt trip me. Sorry for dumping all this VDJ, my mind's pretty much like a blender set on high right now. I'm really stuck in the mud here, trying to figure out my next move. The whole situation's got me on edge, and honestly, it's kind of scary. And now for the update. First up, I've got to throw out a massive shout out to every single person who took a moment to hit me up with a response. Like, seriously, you guys blew my mind. I was just throwing my thoughts out there, not really expecting much, but then, boom, so many of you came through with support, advice, and just being all around awesome. It made a huge difference, and I can't thank you all enough. So here's what went down. After I took a hot minute to think about everything, I figured the best move was to try and have a real, no beating around the bush chat with my girlfriend. I was kind of hoping to tap into her better side, you know? And would you believe it? The conversation actually went way smoother than I ever imagined. We both laid our cards on the table and came to the conclusion that, yeah, we were both just dragging our feet in a relationship that had pretty much fizzled out. She even owned up to cheating and admitted she should have called it quits on us way before things got messy. A lot of the drama boiled down to money stuff. I kind of saw that one coming from a mile away, but honestly, I'm just not in the headspace to be holding on to any anger or grudges. Life's too short, right? We ended up agreeing that me covering Olivia's school cost was still on the table. I'm more than happy to do it. It feels right, and my girlfriend was surprisingly chill about us going our separate ways without any extra drama. Then came the tough part, sitting down with Olivia to talk about everything. We decided to keep the gritty details to ourselves because, let's face it, the truth was a bit too messy and wouldn't really do anyone any favors. Olivia didn't take it super well, and she was pretty upset with me, but that's totally understandable. I mean, I won't be around much from here on out, and she's going to need her mom a whole lot more than she needs me stirring things up. She's got to have that rock-solid belief in her mom, especially now. So that's where I'm at. I'm kind of stepping back, hoping maybe down the line, Olivia and I can patch things up and have some sort of relationship again. But for now, I'm just bowing out, giving them the space to figure things out. I gotta say, rounding back to all of you who reached out, your support and advice have been a lifeline. It's been incredible to feel so much care and support from a bunch of people I've never even met. You all really showed up, and it's given me a lot to be thankful for during a pretty bumpy time. Edit 1. So first off, wow. Just wow. I was totally not expecting so many people to respond the way they did. A huge thanks to almost everyone who's been part of this conversation. I've tried my best to get back to all the private messages and comments you guys have sent my way. There are a couple of things that seem to have gotten a bit mixed up though, so let me clear those up real quick. First things first, paying for Olivia's school is something I chose to do all on my own. I send the money straight to the school like I've always done, so her mom doesn't have anything to do with it. I'm doing this because I care about Olivia a lot. Sure, her mom might get something out of it, but she's definitely not the reason I decided to do this. It's all about helping out someone I really care about. Next up, about how we told Olivia about the whole breakup situation, I really think we did it the right way. I made sure Olivia knew that I'm still here for her anytime she wants to hang out or talk. But, you know, sometimes things just don't work out, like what happened with her mom and me. Some folks think I should have spilled all the details, but I don't agree. The issues were between her mom and me, and I wanted to keep it that way. Olivia's dad passed away before she really got to know him, and her mom has been the only parent she's known. I'm not about to mess up their relationship by telling all the bad stuff. It's up to her mom to make things better moving forward. If not, things will come out on their own eventually. And lastly, I'm actually doing okay, all things considered. The support and kind words from everyone here have been incredible, way more than I ever expected. It's pretty amazing that so many people I've never met would take time out of their day to offer encouragement, send messages, and all that. There was even this one lady who offered to come over and cook me a steak, among other offers, which was kind of wild and definitely gave me a laugh. Probably was a catfish, but hey, it was a nice moment for the ego. But really, the main thing I want to say is thank you to everyone. You've all been awesome. Edit number 2. Hey guys, I've made up my mind. I'm going to cast my vote now. It's time for me to step away and start thinking about what lies ahead. I just want to say a massive thank you to each and every one of you who took the time to write such uplifting and genuine messages to someone you don't even know. What began as a tipsy ramble turned into something truly special that has really helped me out a lot. I'll never forget your kindness. I'm saving this thread so I can come back to it whenever I'm feeling blue. I wish nothing but the best for all of you. I might pop back with an update down the road, but for now I'm signing off. I feel satisfied knowing I stayed true to myself and my beliefs. I don't have any regrets about how I've handled things. So for now, it's farewell. And once again, thank you so much. Last story. Back in '99, when I was 23, I started seeing this girl who was 19 and had a cute little 6-month-old baby. We hung out for about 2 years until I had to split for a job offer in another city. It was a real bummer, not just because I was feeling pretty lost in this new place, but also because I'd gotten super close to her daughter during our time together. Now I'm the kind of person who tries to stay cool with my exes. Most of the time it's chill. There are only a couple of ex situations that ended so messily we couldn't even be in the same room. So with that in mind, I figured I still wanted to be there for her daughter like a dad. I checked with her mom, and she was totally down with it. But let me tell you, it wasn't smooth sailing. Being apart from them was tough as nails for a long while, but as time rolled on, it got a tad easier. I made sure to zip back home to see them and my folks at least once a month. Sometimes the mom would swing by with her daughter in tow to my city too, and on those occasions, she'd leave the kiddo with me for the weekend while she hung with her pals nearby. Over the years, I've been there for so many special moments in her life. I'm talking about birthdays, sure, but also things like teaching her how to swim in the big wide ocean, walking her to and from school, showing her how to ride a bike, and being the one behind the wheel when she got that first concert fever. Oh, and I can't forget about taking her to her very first metal and alternative music festival when she was just 14. Then there was that awkward talk we had and the time her first heartbreak turned into a driving lesson. Fast forward to her high school graduation, we celebrated her first legal sip of alcohol, her first day at university, which I helped pay for, and even the day she got her first tattoo. And there's a bunch more memories packed in there too. Yeah, I did miss out on her sweet 16, but I made it up by being there for her 18th and 21st birthdays with bells on. We even jetted off to Mexico together for a month-long adventure where we both got matching travel tattoos in Spanish. Talk about bonding. Even after all this time, her mom and I are still tight. She's always kept me in the loop, asking for my advice on parenting stuff and seeking my help with other life issues. It's not just a father-daughter thing anymore. She's become one of my closest pals, practically family. And get this, she ended up moving to my city for university and crashing at my place over a year ago. As I'm jotting down these thoughts, I'm sitting on our balcony, and guess what? She's just a few feet away, posted up at her desk in her room, tackling her work-from-home gig. It's moments like these that make everything feel right in the world. Me and my stepdaughter have always had this super tight bond, you know? But with all this social distancing stuff going on down here in Australia, it's like we've become even closer than ever. It's funny how life throws these curveballs at you sometimes. Back when I was wrestling with the decision of whether to stick around in her life or not, I was seriously sweating it. I mean, I was wondering if it was the right move for me, for her mom, the whole deal. But let me tell you something. Looking back over the past 21 years, I can say without a shadow of a doubt that deciding to be there for her has been one of the absolute best choices I've ever made. That girl, she's like my whole universe, you know? So I'm just laying out my experience here, hoping it might give you some inspiration or ideas about how things could pan out for you. Because let's be real, it's not always smooth sailing, and not everyone out there gets why you'd want to step up for someone who's not biologically yours. But hey, sometimes you just gotta follow your heart, even when it doesn't make logical sense. And trust me, it's all worth it when you see that smile, or share those special moments together. To anyone going through a similar situation, I just want to say hang in there, buddy. It might not be easy, but it's all part of the journey. And who knows? It could turn out to be one of the most rewarding things you've ever done. And hey, big shout out to the person who shared that heartfelt response. Seriously, your words touched me in a way you can't even imagine. Thanks for taking the time to acknowledge my story. It means more to me than you'll ever know.